Hey guys, welcome back to the Works Podcast. Sorry I am a little bit late on these reviews. It has been a busy month. I was a little bit sick this past week. I just want to jump right into this. So, the first movie I really wanted to talk about is In a Violent Nature. Now, In a Violent Nature, it's not rated. It's an hour and 37 minutes. This is obviously a horror. This is written and directed by Nash and stars Ry Barrett as Johnny the Killer. In a Violent Nature from IFC Shudder had a strong opening weekend for a low-budget slasher film in the vein of Friday the 13th. Multiple inexplicable sold-out showings of a movie no one heard of 2 months ago, all lured in by the promise of seeing something we have never seen before. A shocking and brutal depiction of a killer's rampage told from the murderer's perspective. While the marketing may have fooled many, this is not a new concept. Going back as far as Taxi Driver or Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, or more recently in films like Maniac or even Joker, plenty of films take the bold approach of empathizing with their iconic villains and making them the audience perspective. All those film villains have one thing in common: character. They are believably themselves. They have motives, fears. They are human. They have depth. In a Violent Nature decides its most interesting villain is a silent ripoff of Friday the 13th Jason Voorhees, a dialogue-absent killer roaming the woods until some unfortunate travelers accidentally stumble into his pathway to be killed. This entire film is just a series of lambs to be slaughtered. Competently done, well shot, and very, very gory. In a Violent Nature doesn't show me anything new, but it does make me worry about the state of horror at the moment. While I concede there are moments of In a Violent Nature that are scary and made me crawl in my seat, I was reminded of another independent horror film I was told I would love and very much did not. As we eased out of the pandemic, an independent horror film was taking local theaters by storm. Done by Long Island natives, Terrifier 2 hit theaters to rave reviews, proclaiming it was the most delightfully abhorrent thing to hit horror since Saw. Terrifier 2 also features a silent killer unencumbered by any sense of morality. He exists only to destroy. Simultaneously, on the day I saw Terrifier 2, the news was abuzz with yet another mass shooting in Raleigh, North Carolina. One of the opening scenes in Terrifier 2 is a tasteless and what I found personally offensive school massacre shown in full, unflinching depiction, and it is perpetrated gleefully by Art the Clown. Whether we are looking at Art the Clown or not Jason Voorhees in A Violent Nature, these killers also have one thing in common, separating them from the previous villains of film. They have no character, no sense of morality, no desires really. They are just forces of malevolence. Some of you might say, well, Sam, come on, how is that any different from Friday the 13th or Halloween? And sure, while it's true we loved watching those killers slice and dice their unsuspecting prey, that also wasn't the entire focus of the movie. Our baser, darker instincts were fulfilled when Michael Myers kills the innocent babysitter we wanted to survive. When Johnny, the name of the killer in A Violent Nature, murders people, we are begging him to do it because the movie simply offers nothing else. There is nothing here but the special effects used during the most bloody scenes. We as the audience should not be reduced to the bloodthirsty, non-empathetic killers they are force-feeding us. Johnny offers the same queasy feeling Art the Clown offers. The feeling of, should I be watching this? Not because you feel like it's biting at the forces of authority, or because it's doing something edgy and new, but because it's exploiting the very real, very horrendous tragedies that affect people every day. In a Violent Nature has some great scenes, but ultimately, it feels like an exercise in snuff filmography more than it ever feels like a pioneering art piece. There was a time I was obsessed with watching the most violent and disturbing movies I could find, Fans of that should take this bit of advice. I found that the kills that are the most disturbing in film, that stick with me the longest, are the kills when I don't want them to die. Hope you listen to that. Now, last month, there was another movie that hit theaters, and it did not do very well. And I'm sad to say that I really missed my opportunity to review this, but I'm going to review it anyway for you guys, just because, I know some of you are interested in what my thoughts are on this. And that's Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. Like I said, this movie did not do well at the box office the past 2 weekends, which is really unfortunate because I have to tell you, I loved it. Furiosa is rated R. It's 2 hours and 28 minutes. It's an action, adventure, and of course a sci-fi. This is directed by George Miller and stars Anya Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth. When Mad Max Fury Road came out, it was hailed as one of the best action movies of the decade. The fourth film in the Mad Max franchise was supposedly unbeatable. I must admit, at the time, I was in the minority who didn't particularly agree with that assessment. Fury Road is very visually dazzling, but it never connected with me in such a way where I was gripping my seat the entire time. Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, was a different experience. George Miller, who is 79 years old, by the way, has created one of the most high-energy, action-packed, gears-grinding Mad Max installments yet. A film bursting with the energy of a young and vibrant filmmaker. George Miller shows no signs of slowing down in Furiosa. As expected, this fifth Mad Max Saga is a treat for the eyes. Starting off in a place of abundance, young Furiosa, played by Alila Brown, is apple-picking with her sister before they are discovered by a group of raiders. Fans of the series will know the Earth the Mad Max world occupies is a desolate, arid version of Australia they simply refer to as the Wasteland. The raiders abduct Furiosa, but her mother is hot on their trail. The raiders bring the girl to Dementus, Chris Hemsworth, in a career-best performance, who runs an outpost with hundreds of starving people, cannibals, and desperate folks just trying to survive the apocalypse. He is an insane man who is all the more off-putting in the way he speaks and composes himself, like a child overwhelmed with power. Young Furiosa is then traded in a deal to a returning fan-favorite character, Immortan Joe, who is actually not the villain of this story. Time begins to pass. Young Furiosa ages into midlife Furiosa, played by Anya Taylor-Joy. George Miller and the special effects team actually blended the faces of Anya Taylor-Joy and Alila Brown so that the transition to the new actress would be less noticeable. It's an ingenious use of deep fake technology, I have to say. Anya Taylor-Joy's version of Furiosa is a tough, quiet, and smart woman. She is so fun to watch, you can't help but root for her safe return home. Truthfully, the plot is pretty minimal. Miller has helmed 5 Mad Max films now over the years, and he has figured out the formula. There isn't a single frame of this movie that doesn't look amazing. It is entertaining from start to finish, and we know a lot about our heroine despite her lack of dialogue. She speaks when she needs to, and when she does, it says a lot. Like Mad Max, John Wick, or Drive before her, Anya Taylor-Joy's quiet but fierce portrayal will go down in action history as one of the best, I think. Which is all the more reason I'm sad to see that Furiosa didn't have a strong opening. I mean, I'm hopeful that this movie will pick up some life in streaming. George Miller says that he's still intent on making a 6th Mad Max film, but this deserves to be seen in a theater, and no matter how good your home system is, this should be seen in IMAX or Dolby. Well, guys, if you like these reviews, please subscribe down below on the channel, give us a like. Please check out our Patreon, where I post behind the scenes videos and pictures of stuff that I'm working on, new projects, and early versions of full episodes. So please check all of that out. We will be right back with an announcement after this sponsor. The Works podcast is sponsored by Reset Lift. You know, I love going to the gym, but I need the right clothes to go in. Our friends over at Reset Lift have created the perfect gym attire for you, because their whole goal is to inspire you to be the best version of yourself. Go to resetlift.shop/Scareworks right now to get exclusive offers on t-shirts, tanks, hoodies, shorts, joggers, sweatpants. You name it, they have it. Use discount code SCAREWORKS at checkout to receive 10% off on merchandise. Okay, guys. So, like I said, I was really busy this past month, and I had kind of alluded that this year you might start seeing some new things coming out of Scareworks, and I'm kind of excited to tell you that we have some new stuff on the way for you. So I'm really excited, and I'm going to talk about it right now with you. I'm just going off the cuff here, but a few weeks back, I was working a sound gig. I connected with a music producer who goes by the name Equis. Check out his stuff. He is super fun. You can find him on Spotify. You can find him on YouTube. I'll link him in the description below. I had a couple metal songs written out, and I asked him if he'd be interested in doing something like that with me. And to my delight, he said yes. So we've been working on some songs. It's not exactly the direction I thought we'd be going in this year, but the opportunity presented itself, and it felt like the right moment, so I took it. As an artist, I write down whatever I'm working on, and I present it the best way I can. Music, while it was never the initial goal for this, there's so many ways to incorporate horror themes and visuals and all these stuff into music now. So I'm very excited to say that our first two songs are done. And I expect the first one to be out on July 4th. The music will be under the pseudonym Protest Art. I already made a channel for them down below. You can check that out also. You'll be seeing some more stuff coming out of Protest Art. You could also find them on Instagram. And that handle, I'll tell you guys when that handle will pop up more and more. But just to give you an idea of the project, like I said, the band, we're going to be Protest Art, and the goal of these songs is to really talk about these big anxieties that I have, these big fears that I have for the future, and talk about them in a direct kind of fulfilling way for me. As an artist, again, this is just really a new way to express myself, a new presentation, but this is still my voice. This is still who I am. This is who my writing is. So I'm very looking forward to the response from you guys. I'm looking forward to releasing something different and getting outside of my comfort zone. To give you a sense of what the music will sound like, it's definitely not for everyone, and that's totally okay. I'm going to be doing Rage Rave. So a mixture of heavy metal and EDM style music. It's kind of a genre I've wanted to explore for a while. There was times many years back where I explored it a couple times, but I never really got serious with it, or committed to it, or could commit to it, at least financially at the times. this is something that, these songs I've been working on for a while. And we're just I'm very excited that I had this opportunity. So here's the thing. I do want to do a music video for the first song. The first song that I'm going to be releasing is called New Normal. I do want to do a music video for that. If you guys are interested in becoming an executive producer on this music video, please send me a message. We're looking for donations. We're looking for some financial support. The more money that we raise, the more we could put into the visuals of this video. I don't think I want to do a fundraising campaign for this just yet, because it's so new, because it's so outside of my comfort zone. But if you are interested in messaging me directly and hearing the song and seeing if you want to become an executive producer on the video, please, by all means, give me a shout out. Slide into the DMs. We're looking to grow right now. That's all what this year is going to be about, before we're ultimately all replaced by AI, which is going to be great, because I already have a bunch of songs about that too. Listen, guys, next month I will have another new episode of The Works for you. Until then, I'll have plenty of more movie reviews for you. The next movie I'm going to be seeing is Ezra, so please stay tuned for that. And, as always, I'll catch you at the movies.